Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to Play It Painted Live. Sorry for the late start here, but we're having a little bit of difficulty this evening with the little guy. Nothing serious, just some teething stuff going on. So anyway, thanks for joining. I'm still in the process of setting up here. So we're going to set up and we'll see just how much we can actually get done here. Make sure I can mute that. There we go. All right. So thanks for joining. Tonight's episode is brought to you by More Helldorado, because I'm working on a Helldorado commission that I'm trying to get done before I go on vacation next week. So I picked up this commission during Cypher Day, and I'll give you a little, not Cypher Day, sorry, Ninja Day, and I'll give you a little recap of what happened there. And I'm going to go ahead and move the camera over. So tonight I'm working on, the plan is to work on the Russian Trapper here, but then I'm also planning on doing at least some work on the two deserters that I have here. So these are all mercenary models for the Helldorado game, and I might as well get started working on eyes. Where I normally start. You can see I've already primed the models white, and actually didn't do too much priming on them, so there's some primed and unprimed areas, but I hear that's a good thing because it gives bite to the top of the model. So anyway, so yeah, if you are watching, go ahead and leave us a comment and let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting, because that's kind of the point of the show, right? Okay, so I'm going to do some eyes, and it's actually better if I don't do this on camera, so you guys may not see a whole lot of action here, and I will be watching the YouTube feed while I'm doing this, so I can't really get a good understanding of where this miniature is going to be on camera. But so the first thing I do, you notice they're not mounted either. I don't mount the miniatures until after I do the eyes. Sometimes I don't mount the miniature until after I do the entire face. So here we go. Just paint in that whole orbit there in with the black. So if you guys have been watching this show regularly, you should know my painting routine here pretty well with regards to painting humanoid miniatures. I always start by painting the eyeballs black. These models are going to be interesting for me because, well, Helldorado in general, the Westerners, just aren't really within my my comfort zone regarding palette. They tend to use a lot of earth tones, a lot of like natural steel, a lot of browns and red browns, and these are colors that a lot of other people love because they hide very well, but I don't tend not to do too many miniatures with these because I usually stick with like really bright airy colors like blue and white and yellow and that kind of stuff. Okay, so you can see getting at this guy's other eyeball here is kind of tricky, but we'll make it work. And the big dude, the Trapper. Trapper actually has kind of beady eyes. So I'm gonna do this once again. Thanks for you folks just joining. Thank you for joining in for Play It Painted Live. Sorry about the late start. If you like, go ahead and leave me a comment about what you're painting or what you should be painting right now. A lot of us fall into the should be painting category, right? Summertime for a lot of the younger guys that are still in school, and they may have projects that they've been hoping to get going. Let's see. First comment in is Jose. Welcome. Congrats for being first, Jose. Who wants to live forever? Painting Batiste in Boba Fett paint scheme. Okay, that sounds interesting. So, so Batiste, another Eldorado miniature. Sounds like you're going to be going with you know, some like khaki colors, green, maybe even like a kind of like a rusted red color. Those are the Boba Fett colors, right? Green, beige. That's kind of cool. Boba Fett, kind of a military color palette. I'm gonna mix up some white here. Very cool. Thank you, Jose. Thanks for watching, Jose. We'll get into what we did this weekend, and you know, you were obviously an attendee to this weekend's Ninja event. So we'll go ahead and get into that. I'm gonna send in Corey had asked to be on the show, so maybe Corey has something specific to say. I'm gonna just send him the Google Plus invite. Tonight's kind of an open format, so if you do want to be on the show, let me know and I can send you an invite as well. Apologies in advance if the invite doesn't work, but feel free to pop into the show if you are capable, and let me know if you need an invite. So I mixed up some white, and now I'm going to paint in the main orbit here of each eyeball. Gotta love these Eldorado miniatures. They're fantastic. These are a commission job that I picked up, and so on this particular job, I think I'm going to do just regular metallics. So no weird metallics for these. And some people I do commissions for like it when I do non-metallics. Some people don't like it. For a game like Eldorado, where the miniatures are kind of more, they lean on the more realistic side. Wow, I can't believe I just got that eyeball. That was crazy. Regular metallics work fantastic. All right, so just work on the eyes again. But I've been itching to play some Eldorado lately. Like lately, for me, it's been the Thursday night Comic Quest thing, which is fun. And, you know, I always get a group of new players pretty much every week, which is fantastic. There's always people popping in on the open board game night. And some of them will try out, say, Eldorado or Anima with me. But a lot of them will try out Super Dungeon Explorer because, you know, it's a group game. It's more of a social board game, and the board game crowd is a little bit more, I guess, comfortable moving over to that type of game. So I've been doing that for several weeks, and you know, throwing a game of Eldorado here and there, and that was fun. But you know, I wanted to have, for last Saturday, I wanted to have a dedicated Ninja Day at the store. I wanted to just say, hey, okay, let's just play these games and see who shows up, and see if people from the community want to come down and play some of these games with me. Was not expecting much of a turnout because it's a general event. It's not like a tournament or anything like that. For some reason, some people only want to go to a tournament, which I don't quite understand, but you know, that's fine. That's their prerogative. But for a community as small and as growing as you know, the Ninja Division, you know, people who follow Ninja Division games, you know, we thought it might be good to have a dedicated event for them and see who's actually out there, who's interested in playing, and see if we can actually get some activity going, some community activity going, besides the weekly demos that I have that, you know, I'll be quite honest, have yet to yield very many regular players. I've gotten players that come back, but they usually only pop in, like, you know, say once once a month or less frequently. And so when you have a group of players that are only coming in that often, you're pretty much stuck with demo games or learning games, right? And especially a miniature system, you're not, miniature systems do require some commitment as far as, I'm going to collect models and I'm going to build them and I'm going to paint them and I'm going to learn a rule system that can often be more complicated or more intricate than a board game system. And when I say complicated or intricate, I'm not really talking about skill level so much as I am time investment. So for miniatures games, a lot of learning what to do or gaining experience behind the game is figuring out what different factions and what different models do, right? That's a big part of your learning experience when you're playing these games. And the board game crowd, that's not such a big deal for them. They don't want to be like invested in meta or learning or anything like that. They want to be able to play a board game and have that, and face a reasonable challenge or a skill or a wit match or whatever you want to call it. And then they want to be able to move on to another game later in the night, and that's totally fine. So anyway, so what I'm saying is it's been hard to plant roots, and with regards to growing a community, you can be the main cheerleader, you can be the champion of your game, or in this case game systems, because there are several. And you can do that week to week, and you can have people that are interested and play the games and enjoy the games. But to really get something to grow, you need somebody to kind of get dug in, the same way you're dug in with these systems. You need somebody that wants to play more regularly and wants a little bit more than the game demo. The learning game that everybody gets, and that can be a challenge. That can be a challenge with especially miniature systems, because they are a commitment in time. They do require some skills that your average say board gamer may not have, and these are a collectible, deep and rich, full hobby experience. So it's a challenge. And I'm still looking for me locally here in OC, still looking for that person that can be like, hey, I can meet you, most Thursdays or even Sundays or Tuesdays. I'd be willing to meet you to learn more Hell Dorado, to dive into the system. That's a challenge, and that has always been a challenge ever since we moved away from Malifaux, and the group kind of split with regards to its interests, and also real life stuff kind of geographically isolating us. So it's been a challenge. That said, I will say that I have really been enjoying all of these pickup games and meeting different kinds of gamers week in and week out, and just enjoying the company of new people all the time. I love that. It's great. So that's been awesome. But like I was saying, we needed to have an event where we can actually just get people, see who shows up and get people rallied around some of these games that we like. So I threw a Ninja event last Saturday at Comic Quest. And it was a typical Comic Quest thing. I normally only expect like 6 people to go to my events typically at Comic Quest, and that's kind of been our track record. It's very, very normal for the store regulars to ditch events. I'm not sure really what that's about, but the people that come in during the week and play games, they're not very reliable when it comes to the weekend event. So they don't really show up much for that. So when they tell me they're going, I kind of ignore it. We also have some other folks that's like, yeah, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to make sure I get guys up there, and we're going to do this, and I promise you that. And that doesn't really work out so well either. Speaking of which, what's up, Corey?
Hey, how's it
Welcome
going?
to the show.
It's been a while since I've been on.
Yeah, I'm going to turn your volume up a little bit. I can't really
Okay.
hear you.
All right.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to turn your mic volume up, and I will turn myself up. Okay, and let's look at the comments here real quick. Oh, no. Okay, well, let's see what we got as far as comments. I'll reload the comments. Okay, 3 comments. Jose, I prefer NMM for my guns and swords, from Jose. Yeah, to me it makes them go a little bit faster. I know that sounds counterintuitive because you have to shade them and blend them a little bit more when you're doing NMM, but that does for me. Non-metallic metal. And Tori Ling is back. Hello, I started painting my 500 points of Grey Knights. Last Saturday was my local GW's birthday, so the community started new armies, and we got 3 rolls of 2d6 and got to pick out of the 3, so I got to pick Grey Knights. Okay, congratulations, Tori, on picking Grey Knights. Alright, so yeah, that's what we're looking at. What are you working on, Corey?
Well, my mom sent me all my Lord of the Rings stuff, so
Okay.
I'm working to repair everything that's broken, which is about half of it. Right now, I've got my my Belrog here, who is missing a wing, so I'm going to try to pin that back on there. We'll see how that works out.
There's some Lord of the Rings action going on there. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up
Just me, though.
Q&A here and see if there's any Q&A. Alright, so just a little hello there from Tori. Tori, thanks again for joining us. And I'm glad that you're painting. Makes me feel like someone cares or is watching and might be doing something. That is the point of the program, which is to try to get people used to the idea of, hey, I can paint things and we can talk about things. So that's cool. Alright. So sorry to interrupt you there, Corey. What else is going on besides Lord of the Rings here?
Well, I'm working on getting some terrain stuff built here shortly too. I'm trying to get ready for this Relic Knights thing going on, so I need to get some terrain built for that.
Are you going to be supporting Relic Knights as a Ninja Corps, or are you just looking to build something to play?
I'm gonna attempt to do a support thing. We'll see how that works out. Since my regular game nights on Mondays have been canceled since Sean and Gary moved back to New York, I'm gonna have a little more free time to hopefully get to the game store during the week to fulfill my ninja stuff. So
that's cool. Okay.
Hopefully I can actually be more able to do things outside of conventions is what I'm trying to do.
Like more stuff in the stores, or?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
I've already got a one. I know one guy has already been asking me about when I'm going to start doing the ninja stuff for everything. And I was like, I'm trying to get the whole thing set up. It just works kind of weird right now and stuff. So.
Out of what store, Corey?
Out of Paradise.
Paradise. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
What do they stock right now as far as the ninja stuff? Do they stock any of the games yet?
Just SDE. That's it.
Okay, that's cool.
I know you won't buy anything until there's actually followers of the other games. So.
Yeah, that makes
sense. Set up a game. Or do like a ninja day over there to kind of like do a kickoff with it all starting would be great. So we'll see how that works.
That's cool. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we did last Saturday.
Okay.
Was we did basically a Ninja Day at Comic Quest, and based on the raffle tickets that I had, we had 10 people show up, which was kind
That's
of
pretty
cool.
good.
Pretty good for considering, it was not like a heavy organized play event or anything like that. Just it was more of a let's just kind of meet and greet and get some games in, and see who's around, see who's actually invested in these games and who is
Yeah.
serious about playing them. So and when this kind of stuff happens, you normally get a lot of promises from people that, I'll be there, I'm going to go, it's going to be cool, I'll be there, can't wait to go. And then, usually get, because they are gamers, usually get about, it's been my experience, you get about maybe a 30% or 30% return rate of people that actually said they were going to go that actually went. Now, what was really cool
That was me.
about this,
That I was gonna go.
well, you were. I don't want to pick on you. You were one of many. I think we had on the online event, we had 10 people confirm that they were going, and fact of the matter is, we had 10 people show up, which is interesting. But out of the 10 people that confirmed they were going online, only 2 of those people actually showed up to the event, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So we actually, if people, the interesting thing is we would have ended up with a pretty sizable event. 18 people for a non-organized play event. But you're used to that. When you run events like this, you're used to that massive gamer bailout. Usually the Thursday or Friday, you'll have a lot of people dropping out. So
Yeah.
very normal thing. You just got to get used to that. If you volunteer to run events or anything like that, you just got to get used to the what I call the gamer promises, which are really worth nothing. So anyway, but what was really cool was out of the 10 people that showed up, we had some people from LA. We had Jose showed up from Inland Empire, which was awesome. We had 3 or 4 people show up from Orange County, and then what was really interesting is we had 3 guys show up from Las Vegas, which was awesome because they drove all the way from Vegas down to Orange County to play some of these games, and that was amazing because they were like, hey, we love these games. Our game store is kind of few and far between, and we wanted to get in some more real games and enjoy them, and they were blown away with the stock that CQ keeps, because CQ really does in the region. I believe they're tops. They have everything, and they keep well, not everything, but they have almost everything for the games that I volunteer for. So it was a cool day. I actually raffled off some goodies, stuff from Mr. Dandy, or War Gamma, as most people know him these days. So we had some 30 and 40 mil bases, the stuff that looks great on Eldorado and Anima minis. We auctioned those. Well, we raffled those off. Raffled off an Inferno deck, and raffled off a what's it called? A Nyan Nyan for SDE. Okay. And then we raffled off a limited edition Anne Haley model, which was cool.
Oh, yeah. So, the one that we played, Anne Haley versus Anne Haley?
Yes.
And yours totally hit my wet?
Right. So we had we had a little bit of prizes to give out, but what was cool was people were just sort of interested in gaming with other people. The guys from Vegas showed up and they played some Anima, and then they wanted to get in some games with the people that they traveled out here to see. So I got in a game of Eldorado with JT Warner from the, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but from the Cypher group. Okay. So we played his Lost which is a Corvus build, and I played Immortals. So I played more of the Monkey King. That was a very, very fun game. The Sokol showed up and they played SDE Arena.
Okay.
And then Jose played, I believe, a couple of games of Eldorado. And Mark played some Eldorado and Anima. And then Richard Carmody was there. He played Anima and kind of spectated some more Eldorado as well. So I think by the time the event ended, most of us had like 3 or 4 games under our belt, and we were pretty much sated at that point, which is awesome because 3 different game systems, and our games are ranging about an hour apiece, and everybody's finishing in a good amount of time. They had plenty of time to shop, plenty of time to eat lunch or whatever. And all in all, I thought that was I would say that was probably the most fun I've had at a store event so far this year. So it was really good times, and I was really, I was super stoked about everybody that showed up and just how much we were into playing the games, and really impressed that people were coming from outside the region just to come down and play some of these awesome games.
Nice. Yeah, they had a thing out here at Paradise, and it was the last time I was going to be able to. Well, I thought it was going to be the last time I was able to see Sean Gale before they left, so I was like, do I go to a game event or do I see my friends for the last time?
Yeah, that's no worries. I totally understand, because, Sean and Gale are moving away.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, I thought we had a pretty good
So what did you play at the... I'm sorry, go ahead.
The game day that we had over here for the Fanatical Gamer Society that we had going on, I thought that was a pretty good turnout. We had some good stuff going on. For the, what was it, 2 weekends ago?
Yep.
Yeah.
2 weekends ago. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit on last week's show.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, if we didn't, you weren't on, so we didn't talk about what you did that day, because you did some play testing, right?
I did.
All right. Are you allowed to share some of your playtesting experience with us?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, he told me I'd be totally allowed to demo it if I, understood it a little bit better. But I don't think he's gonna mind if I get into it a little bit.
Okay, yeah, it's free advertising, sure. Adam will be okay. I don't think he watches this show anyway, so but it should be okay.
Yeah, I mean, he told me he's gonna do a Kickstarter for it eventually. So I mean, why not advertise while you can?
Sure.
So the game's called Parallax, and I didn't read the rules too much, but I don't want to tell you the background to it because I would totally probably butcher the background of the whole game.
Okay.
But basically, it's a D10 system, and you're rolling for lows. So your ones are better, 10s are basically you're horrible. You don't want 10s; they're the bad ones.
Okay.
And so ones are considered rerolls, but if you get a 10, it cancels out the reroll. So if you roll a 1 and a 10, it cancels out that reroll that you would normally have.
Do you still get the success of the 1?
I'm sorry?
Do you still get to count a success?
Yeah, you still get the success for the 1. You just don't get the ability to re-roll it, basically.
Okay.
Which is actually pretty interesting.
So it's not exploding dice. It causes a reroll. You can actually reroll a miss, for example.
Yeah. So and it adds in another rule, and it adds basically another rule into it. You might get another hit, basically. And you're rolling against your own stats. So it's not like you're looking for your opponent's defense. It's all on your card, basically. Basically your dice pool is your life points. So let's say if I forget the 3 areas that he has, but it's basically like your essence, and then it's like your body, and then I think it's like I want to say like dexterity type thing.
Okay.
And each one of them has a stat pool, or it's like your life points for each one. And once you lose all the points in each of the three sections, your character is gone.
Mm-hmm.
It dies. But you choose where you take points of damage, basically. So it's not like War Machine where you're rolling to see which column it's going in. It's basically you
Yeah.
take damage and you decide where you want to put that damage and in which section. Because as you take damage, you start losing dice basically if you have less stats than that. If that makes sense, I'm trying not to butcher it too much here.
Is there an in-game fluff reason for why a model can direct where it's taking damage?
It's not like I don't think it's like I don't know if it's a fluff thing. I think it's more of the strategy behind it of what you're doing.
Okay, so there's no like overarching reason why you can do that. You can just do that.
Yeah, it's just how it is. It's just like you choose where you
Okay.
put your damage. Like if you want to make another attack and you get hit, you don't want to put your damage points in your stats. That's going to be your melee basically because it's going to ruin your chances of hitting.
Okay.
And then so let's see. So that was that. I did get some input on the rules.
And I noticed that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. What were we saying?
I noticed when I looked at the models, and the models look pretty cool.
Yeah.
There was like a Minotaur guy
I actually have
and
that.
like a wolf guy.
Pick it up if you would like me to bring him out.
Sure.
All right, let me go grab him real quick. He's on display in my living room.
Free advertising for Adam here. Or it might not, I don't know, it might backfire. I hope not. We'll see.
All right, so this is the Minotaur.
Okay.
It's a big model, and I don't even think I can get it all on the screen here.
Yeah, I noticed that was a very big model. It's like 4 inches tall or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous big, but it was very fun to paint.
Mm-hmm.
And since I can't paint very small details, it made it a lot easier for myself.
Yeah.
So, but this was the model. I don't know if that's a good shot at all. And when he ordered it, he had the custom bases that he did himself actually too. So that was pretty cool.
That's cool. Okay.
For playtesting, he actually gave me his other model that he has out right now. I forget the name of. I believe it's like a faction, or if it's like the certain name of like the model.
Circle Orboros, right? Oh wait, no. I mean, it's like a dog thing.
Yeah, I think it's like a cannon or I forget the exact term for it, but
Okay.
I was really kind of excited because I've never done any play testing, and actually Sean got me talking to Adam about the game.
Okay.
Because Sean knows I pretty much any miniature game that's out there I pretty much either own or I'm gonna own at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I have that gamer addiction, so. I got some pretty good input on shooting into melee, and because it's like most games where you shoot and then who do you hit? It's like that's always the deciding factor. If you're going to take this shot, who's it going to end up hitting?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of went with something that was a little different, and I thought it was actually pretty cool. Because what I thought was you roll your dice, and let's say you need 5 or less to hit. And you're rolling 7 dice. So let's say 4 of them are hits and 3 of them are misses. So if your hits outweigh your misses, you hit the model that you're targeting. But let's say you rolled 3 hits and 4 misses. Then you hit one of your models that's in melee basically. So you basically completely failed the shot and you hit your own guy. But the things that were still successes are what counts for damage against your model. So it's not like you're rolling for damage continuously. It's just you roll. If you succeed more than you fail, you hit the target. If you fail more than you succeed, if I'm saying that right, yeah, if you fail more than you succeed, then you hit one of your in melee models basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I actually kind of liked it. You know, getting a little input into a game that's still in production is actually pretty cool. It's also something that I can hold on to when I say, "Oh yeah, I wrote that," or "I told them about that." So, but they're all really cool
Okay.
guys. Um,
Okay.
and it's action points in this game. Each guy has a certain amount of action points that he can spend. Um, and I keep forgetting. It's like an exhaustion level basically. And if you
Mm-hmm.
exceed that exhaustion level, you're at -1 die for each time that you want to do something.
I see.
Um,
Okay.
so yeah, so if you just try to do something all out, you're gonna end up. You need to like be careful because you don't want to double what you're at because you just can't double your basically your points. And
Mm-hmm.
it kind of helps you if you want to buy some more dice to defend. If you can't do that, you kind of screwed yourself. So you kind of got to think of what models are still up to activate and what you still want to do. There's a lot of thinking that's involved in it, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I can't wait for his Kickstarter whenever he does that to come out because definitely gonna be jumping on that one.
Okay. What would you say is the oh, let me answer a question real quick here. Tori Lang, is this Comic Quest? Where is it located? Lake Forest, California. Yes, Comic Quest is in Lake Forest. Tori, that's it's like right off the 5 freeway uh, in Lake Forest. Got a weird text here. I may have to look at that real quick. One sec. I know the little guy's having some problems, so I gotta make sure I'm on alert here. Let's see. Okay, we're okay. We're okay for now. All right. Um, so let me ask you this, Corey.
Yes.
What? Uh, I don't know if you actually use this criteria or not for games, but for me, I I don't I don't get into a game unless I have some compelling reason to draw me from one system to a different system. And I normally call it a hook, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, for me, Eldorado, the hooks are the theme. Love the theme.
Yep.
It's completely unique. There's no other game like it in terms of its theme and setting.
Yep.
Also, like the metal miniatures, that sets it apart from a lot of miniatures games these days, where they're going plastic or resin or restic or one of those other components. I'm still a huge fan of metal models. And then, finally, mechanic-wise, the hook for me in Eldorado are scenario-based command points, structure, and lemurs. So
Okay.
those are, to me, those are the hooks, and there's lots for Eldorado, and I include lots because it's my favorite game right now. But if you were to say, okay, what are the hooks for, this game is called Parallax, right? What are the hooks for Parallax, in your opinion?
So, do you want me to just give you like a criteria of what I like in miniature games, or because that might be a little bit easier than me trying to.
Well, it might not be. Well, okay.
I can do
I'll
that.
just put
Yeah.
it,
So,
all right.
he's got small model count.
Okay.
I enjoy skirmish-based games, so that was number one. To me, anything that has amazing-looking models is another bonus. And so far, all the models that he has that or even just the ones that he has like sketched up, or even just like a picture of just like a sketch of what he wants. His everything he's doing with these models is just awesome. The models are what drew me into it to begin with, and then I like that it's not a typical D6. A lot of games I've played are all D6 for some reason. So a D10, it drew me in. It's different, so it's not something that's the same. And I enjoy games with action points. I don't mind games that are you can do this and then your activation's over. I like that you have this amount of action points to spend. If you go over that, you're gonna start taking penalties for it. But if you really want to get in this really big hit, you kind of gotta think about it. It's a very strategic game is what I'm trying to say, I guess. You really got to think about what you're going to do before you start doing it. Yeah, it's very tactical because you could overexert yourself and basically be killed because you can't defend yourself.
Okay.
And also it's you can build your own stats. That's another plus.
Okay.
So he has a whole setup for it, and I'm not sure all of it yet. But you can literally you can make a Minotaur that casts spells, and it's like a Minotaur that casts spells. Obviously, he's a big bruiser guy, but nope, you can have a Minotaur that's a healer if you wanted to. And he also has another thing that's pretty cool is you choose a leader at the beginning of the game, and that leader gives basically a bonus to all of your models on your team for the entire game. So the Minotaur special thing is he has a thing called Bull Rush, and basically he gives that ability to every character that's on his team. It's interesting. I think it's cool that your leader kind of gives everyone something special that depending on what leader you choose. And let's see, I do definitely like activation models where you go, I go, you go, I go.
Sure.
So it's not the typical you bash on me for an entire round while I sit there and do nothing. And
that's like the War Machine. Sure.
Yeah, and that gets kind of old where you're sitting there for 20 minutes while some guy's moving 50 models. And
you're basically just a record keeper.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep, you did 100 points of damage to me this turn. Okay, there goes half my force. And yeah, so you're always rolling dice, and I love the fact that you can choose to modify how many swings you want to take, or if you want to try to defend more, you can add more action points in to gain more dice, and so basically you're rolling against each other is what it is.
Okay.
And it's against your own stats, so it's not like, hey, so you're defense 4. I need 4s to hit you. Oh, and you're terrifying too. I mean, that's Eldorado stuff, but
yep.
Yeah, that's pretty cool too. I like that, but I don't know. Everything that's in the game is just I think it's very neat, and it's not. I don't see it too often in a lot of miniature games at all. So.
Well, the whole rolling against yourself is pretty anti-duel.
Yeah.
It makes it so that what's the point if you're rolling against yourself and your own stats every single time? What's the point in having any sort of defensive tech on any model? Because the bar is the same. The only thing the defender gets to do is he gets to allocate dice up or down to try to survive a roll that's a static roll. So that's interesting. I guess it's kind of counterintuitive, but okay.
So like if you're getting attacked, I remember all of these certain actions that you can do. If it's like if you just defend or if you can attack back.
Okay.
But so your defender has his own stat that he is trying to get basically. So if his armor is like a 4, so you need 4 or better basically to say that your armor is that strong. And then you compare like how many successes that you had to your opponent's successes, and then from there you kind of determine damage and stuff like that. And if you have an armor stat, it allows you to gain rerolls basically. So.
Okay.
It's different. It's not like a lot of other games, which is what, for me.
I gotta admit, from everything that you're saying, it sounds pretty much the same as a bunch of other games.
That I've played. It seems like it's a lot of mixed into one, like a lot of little bits of everything mixed into a game.
Sure. And I'm not saying that as necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying that I haven't other than rolling checking it against your own skill stat to determine a success, but I don't know that that's just something that the opponent tries to nullify through an armor roll. But yeah, I don't know. I'm myself, and I'll just full disclosure here. I saw the models in the art, and they look cool and they look great, but they don't bring me anywhere different than what I see. They look to me. It's kind of like confrontation hordes. A lot of that art and the style seems the same. But those are popular games, and people like those games, and people want to see more games like that. So I can't really, not really gonna. And again, the other thing is I just not, from an aesthetic standpoint, I'm not really drawn into trying that game. But it does sound interesting. So.
No, everyone's got their own stuff. I mean, I love miniature games, so anything that I get the chance to try, I'm going to try it.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
uh,
that's cool. So have
yeah.
you committed to doing any more playtesting? Um,
I told him if he gets some time and we get some time to meet up, I'll totally play some more with him.
that's cool. Okay.
It's neat. It's a different experience that I feel like a lot of people don't really have as far as when it comes into like miniature games.
Okay.
Um, so I mean, I find it pretty interesting to get your input into a game.
Yeah, well, he tried to get me in on it, and I was like trying to be honest, like, look, I'm not interested in your setting, and I don't
Yeah,
see. And I asked him point blank. I said, you need to give me a reason why I wouldn't quit one of these other games that I'm playing to play your game. And
yeah,
he didn't. I think at the time it was way earlier in development. I don't think he had a concrete answer for that.
yeah,
So, and that's okay. I mean, a lot of people are excited for it. I don't want to be, and I don't want to like say anything negative about something that I'm completely ignorant of. So I won't do that. But that's cool. I'm glad you had fun. That
yeah.
sounds like that was a productive day. Now, how long did that demo take for you guys to finish up?
It was. I want to say it was about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but
Okay.
we had a lot of side conversations going on.
Mm-hmm.
So there was times when we wouldn't even be playing the game for maybe like 20 minutes, where we just had like a side conversation about something else that was not even close to what the game was about. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but we played with a lot of
I guess
models.
that will happen.
He gave me one of every model
Yeah.
that he has so far. So
What? So you mentioned that this is a small model count game. How many models did he mention on average? How many models do you play per side?
uh, no, I don't honestly remember how many.
Okay.
Um, and I wish I could remember, but I'm not. I don't want to say like 10 because it's not 10, but I don't think it's as few as like 3.
Okay.
So honestly, I don't remember how many he said, but it's not. It's definitely not more than 10 models. I don't think.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. I lied. He has it so it's either you can play this game as an RPG,
Mm-hmm.
you can play it as a small skirmish-based game, or you can play it as like a full-out war game.
I see.
I think
Okay.
that's what he's doing with it. He was going to do like a huge, where you could do like a huge table with a lot of models, or you could choose to take it to a smaller model count and play a skirmish-based game, or you could actually use like his stats for an RPG. Is what I think I read about it.
Okay.
And I don't want to give false information because I feel like that's really wrong of me, but I think that's what I remember
Well,
reading, if I'm correct.
sure. I don't think it's really false because at this time everything's in playtesting, so
Yeah, and
you can't
everything.
really. I don't think you're gonna really flub that. So
Yeah,
anyway, welcome everybody to Play It Painted Live. If you guys are painting, let us know what you're painting or what you should be painting. We're talking with Corey right now about the Parallax game. I see that Tin Man hopped on to say hello. What game are you guys talking about? We are talking about Parallax, sir. Kind of what did Corey do? What has Corey been doing lately? And he played a playtest game of this game. This is Adam Rosenblum's game that he is trying to develop. So that's very cool. It's a pertinent topic because I wanted to bring up a really cool question that David J. Blood asked on the SoCal Tabletop site in the past couple of days, I think, which is, how many games are you playing? And, do you have criteria for what become main games and what goes on the shelf? And I saw that you had answered that briefly, Corey.
yeah,
And if you guys want to answer this question as well, feel free to answer in the comments or about this, because a lot of us, especially in this age of skirmish games, a proliferation of skirmish games, there is the potential now, instead of just playing like the one game of 40K like back in the day, you can play like half a dozen or more different systems.
Mhm.
You know, with the same amount of money and the same amount of time, you can be doing that. So the question came up that David posed is, you know, what games are you playing or intending to play, and how do you separate games that you want to continue to play versus games that you might have tried once or twice?
Are you asking me this question?
Yeah, sure. Let's
Okay.
just jump right into it. Sure.
So my response to that was very short, and
Okay.
what I said was, you know, I'm willing to play any game. Um, you know, I'll give anything a try, and usually if I enjoy it, I buy right into it. So I my thing was basically, you know, if someone's playing it, I'm totally down to play it. You know, whatever it is, as long as I like it, I'm gonna play it.
Yeah.
And it seems kind of weird. It's a lot of money, and I don't know if I answered his question properly, but for
Well,
me,
I think your short answer was everything, right? That's what
yeah,
you said.
basically my answer was everything and anything. If someone wants to play it and I've got it, I will play it basically. Um, because I don't mind playing one or two games, but after a while, it's like if you continue to play the same game over and over again, I feel like it can get very kind of like tiring of the same exact game over and over,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's with the same people.
Okay.
So I try to diverse myself in as many games as I possibly can. Um, sure, it costs a lot of money. I'm not. I wish you could see what I have behind me, but I put a lot of money into all the gaming stuff, but it's just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's a passion. So um, if someone's willing to play it and I've got it, or if someone's willing to try it and I don't have it, I'm totally willing to buy into it. So
Yeah. Have you ever
um,
met a game to that question? Have you ever met a game that you didn't like? That you're like, nope, not getting into it, not buying it, not playing it. You ever come
honestly,
across?
I'm trying to think because there's a lot of stuff that I have. Hmm, that's a good question.
And
Honestly, I think if I give it a try, I don't think there's been a game that I've kind of really said no, I don't like that at all.
wow.
I know
Okay.
it seems kind of weird, and I'm trying to think of something that I might have said no, I don't like that. Um,
Okay.
yeah, honestly, I
So
don't
your
really
criteria
recall.
is as long as somebody's playing it, you'll jump in and play it.
Yeah, yeah, and it sounds kind of weird, but yeah, as long as someone's playing it it
It's a
holds my
pretty
attention.
Yeah, that's a pretty unique unique take on this because I think most people kind of have their standards regarding what they would play and not play. Um, but I guess okay. So my follow up question to that would be, if you will play any game that anybody's playing, um, how does that mean that you're not interested in going very deep into the games? And how often are you playing such that you could support a virtually unlimited number of games?
All right, so first question again was, I'm sorry, you got to run that by me. It's been a long Tuesday.
Okay, yeah, no problem. How deep do you expect to go into a game? Are we talking one full army, two full armies? How often are you planning on kind of exploring that game and changing out, say, models or even factions? Um, is
Okay,
that part of the consideration, or?
so for that one, I would say that I usually like to buy I like to say I usually end up buying two sets of things. Like I'll end up buying two armies or two factions.
Okay.
Um, and that's because um, I like to have two separate things, like two separate armies. It's just my thing. It's like if I'm trying to get someone into this game and I go, oh, I've only got one army. Sorry, you've got to go buy your own stuff so we can try it. Um, you know, it doesn't really work out.
Okay.
Um, if that kind of if I'm making sense here at all.
Sure.
And as far as how deep I get into the games, as far as knowing like the rules, or um,
Yes.
okay, yeah. So rules for me, um, I've honestly only really ever read the Anima Tactics and the Helldorado rulebooks.
Okay.
And that's because of the ninja thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do enjoy those games. So that's something that I'm trying to get more into. It's just, driving, an hour and a half north where you guys are at is kind of difficult to do very often. So, so I'm trying to develop something where it's more in depth down here. But it's just a slow process, I guess, for myself right now. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, I for most games, it's not very deep into the games as far as knowing like the backgrounds to the games and all like the fluff. Um, I know I'm not a fluff guy. That's just me though. Um, I'm not really big into backgrounds of the games. As long as to me the game is cool and or to my standards is cool and it's got some good mechanics. I can care less if it's about some hillbillies killing Freddy Krueger or something like that, whatever.
Okay.
Um, as long as it's like whatever. Um, I
Okay.
as long as it's cool, I'm totally willing to play it. And then as far as the depth, I need to get more in depth with the ninja stuff, and that's something I'm working on.
Well, let
Um,
me ask you this then: if you know, yeah, why did you single out the ninja games to kind of to look at more in more depth?
to be honest, they were completely okay. So I don't want to say I was like a GW fanboy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but so I first started when I was like 13. I was working at a summer camp and we played Lord of the Rings, like the miniature game. And I fell in love with it.
Okay.
And that was my first miniatures game I ever got into. And I haven't stopped collecting it. Like, I stopped basically collecting it as soon as I joined at like the age of 20. I basically stopped. So for 7 years, I was collecting Lord of the Rings models. Um,
Okay.
and then from there, my friends and I kind of jumped into 40K. But that was just like,
Mm-hmm.
this is kind of ridiculous after a while. Um, And then, I came out here to California. I did a lot of War Machine, but then I got the same old stuff. And then I tried Eldorado, and it was completely different than any other game I've ever seen or even heard of. So,
Mm-hmm.
where I can fight you at the same time is kind of like, wait, you can do that? I didn't know that was legit. And then,
Believe it or not, in 40K you could do that.
really?
Yes, in second
Oh,
edition 40K, you could
I
you
think they
you
changed
fought
that back in
combat
December.
simultaneously, which was fantastic, by the way. And I'm glad Eldorado was the only other game to figure that out. But
It
yeah.
makes her a lot faster of a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, we both kill each other this turn. That leaves us both with two models left. I wonder what's going to happen next.
Right.
We're both probably going to kill each other. So for that, it made the games go by so much quicker. And charging a straight line doesn't matter. You can do whatever the heck you want in that game. And then, so I bought that.
Okay.
I didn't buy it yet. I waited for the Kickstarter. And I was on Miniature Market one day, and I was like, oh, okay, what game do I want to go buy now for miniatures? And then I saw Anima Tactics, and I bought a bunch of models. I was like, those are pretty cool models. I know I'm never going to paint them because I'm not a painter. But, now I am. So, um, I got those models, and then all of a sudden I found out give that a try, and I was like, wait, action points? What the heck is that? So for me, they're just completely different games, and they both just drew me into that whole like different realm of miniature gaming, basically, which is what I like actually. So that's kind of what drew me into it.
Okay. And you liked it enough. See, I guess what I'm looking for from you is
Okay.
how do you differentiate between, okay, I'm going to play this game with this guy, and I'm going to play this game with these other guys, and I'll play this game with this guy, and I'll keep doing that. How do you get to a point where you're like, okay, I like this game enough to where I'm going to start collecting a third faction. I'm going to actually jump into the rules. I'm going to volunteer for a program and show this to other people. Like, what are the differentiating factors there, or are there any?
Um,
Was this
so when I first met you guys doing Malifaux, I was like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah, I could dig this game. And you guys were all about the game, and I was like, these guys are awesome. You know, they volunteer all their time and stuff,
Hmm.
and you know, they put on some pretty cool stuff. And I was like, you know what? I feel like for for being in the gaming community, I feel like I need to give something back. I feel like I was like I don't want to say it like I was forced to, but I feel like I should give something back.
Okay.
Uh, and then I found out after you know no one was playing Mouthful anymore that I think I just randomly found the Eldorado or the Cypher Studios page, and you were
Okay.
like, yeah, you accepted me, and I was like, what the heck, you guys are playing this now too? And then I felt kind of motivated at that point to just kind of you know send in the application to Ninja after you know they got the whole thing set up to volunteer my time and teach people, I guess, how to play a game. I thought that was one of the best miniature games I've played in a very long time.
Okay.
Um, but me and collecting is very weird. I like to have as much of everything as I can. So I think when I did the Kickstarter, I started with the Lost and the Demons, and then as soon as I went to CQ and I saw that they had um, the Saracens, and then they also had the Immortals. You know, I let Sarah try the game, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy these now too.
Okay.
Um, so for me, collecting is just something that I just do. I don't stick with one faction. I never have as far as miniature games go. I pretty much buy as much of the game stuff as I can,
Okay.
and it's kind of bad because I never get good at one thing. Uh, I like to say I know a little bit about each thing and what they're good at, but I'm not a pro at knowing the demons, or I'm not a pro at knowing Saracens.
Sure. Okay.
That's what I like to do. And then when it comes time for me to show people, I can be like, oh, well, I don't just have these two starter sets. I have all of them. What would you like to try? Um,
Hmm.
so, I mean, that's kind of bad. I spend a lot of money doing it, but, you know, it's just something that I just do. I don't, probably something messed up with my head about that, but, you know, for me, it's Pokemon, basically. You know, I got to collect them all. I can't stop, so.
So it's all. Is it fair to say that you're almost more of a collector than a hobbyist or a gamer? Would
Uh,
that?
You know, that's tricky. That's tough to say because um, I love playing games, and it's not more of like collecting everything. It's I don't know. I like that's tough because I don't want to say I'm a collector because I do really enjoy playing games, and I feel like if you're a collector, you're just doing it to collect all the stuff you can.
Right, but I mean, you do have that aspect, that part
I
of.
do, yeah, I do definitely have the aspect of it, collecting as much as I possibly can.
Hmm.
Uh, I would definitely throw myself into a collector gamer kind of status, I guess. Then um, I like to have as much of it as I can, and I pretty much play as often as I get the opportunity to. I'm out there playing games, so
Okay.
yeah.
So right now, like you were saying, you don't have anyone to game with, or regularly, right? And for that
Well, right now I've
matter,
been doing Friday Night Mantic down at Ease, but you know
yeah,
that's almost an hour. That's a little over an hour drive on a Friday night.
right,
It, you know, it's a long drive. Um, and right now, Paradise doesn't really have. They have that. Everyone that's down there, I enjoy, but I kind of got a War Machine. You know, it's that whole mentality of like I feel like everyone's got to have like they look up their armies to see which army's the best and stuff like that.
mm-hmm,
And you know, I just like to play. I just like to play. You know, I don't like the whole tournament stuff. I just enjoy playing. So
that's fair. Okay.
yeah. So I would like to say, you know, I don't have like a regular gaming group.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much play if someone's willing to play. If someone says, hey, you know, I want to play this, and you know, I have it, then I'm all down to play it. So
Sure. Okay. Well, I can say it, like, for example. Well, hold on. Before we get in, let's reload comments again. See if we have anyone answering this question about how they select what games they will be using, playing, not playing. Um, Blood Rage Engage. I feel like fluff is just a bonus for me. The Saracen minis are really cool looking, but the lore and history behind them is really cool too. It's like the cherry on top. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, if you, I think for some of us, like we start with some other aspect, aesthetic, mechanic, whatever you want, and then you get back to fluff, and fluff is just kind of the bonus that kind of locks you in and keeps you following what's happening to your favorite faction or your favorite character or whatever. So thank you for that comment. Blood Rage Engage. Very cool name also. Okay, so anyways, Corey, what I was going to talk to you, what I was going to ask you about was, for example, At Ease Games, right?
Yes.
And I know that's kind of a drive for you, but they have a pretty active group that plays a bunch of different games. Like they at one point they played Eldorado, and then it seems like they all, well, not. At one point there was interest in Eldorado, but that interest has waned. And then you also had some interest in Anima Tactics down there. Again, that interest kind of waned a bit, or they're having, from what I heard, they might be having some scheduling problems with the folks that do want to play.
Okay.
And then what you also have down there is you have some folks that are really into the Mantic games. So you've got some folks that are into Dreadball, Dead Zone, the Mantic stuff, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing a lot of, is actually the Mantic stuff.
Yeah. So let me ask you this.
So it's, I got it, now I'll play it.
Yeah, you got it, now you play it. And, with especially with what's going on SoCal Tabletop, they're trying to organize a Dreadball League. They want to get more people involved playing these Mantic games. Let me ask you this. Are you interested in volunteering for the Mantic volunteer system as well? Would you be interested in taking on more than one volunteer duty? And what happens in... Oh, okay, I'll let you answer that one first.
Oh, yeah. So, the whole Ninja chorus is the first thing I've ever done for volunteering as far as games go. Mm-hmm. And, I still have trouble with rules. It's just I always have problems with rules. So, every time we play, I go, hey, Octave, what's this? What's that rule again? So, for me, I think I want to be able to fully give myself to one game, or to volunteer fully for one, and I feel like Ninja's probably the best one to start with, because there's so many people down here, like even you, like I can ask you any question, you pretty much know it right away. So for me, just getting into the whole volunteering thing, it's new for me. And I feel like with some of the guys around that have, been, like you've been volunteering for a while, I feel like me trying to do two at once is going to be a lot for me to take on. So I want to be able to give myself more to Ninja first, and then if I give in as much as I can, and I still want to do more, then I might try it. So
okay.
Right now, probably no. I like their games. But I don't really know a lot of people that are volunteering for it or anything like that. Because I know Ross, and I know you, so it's easy for me to be like, hey, I'm not sure what this is. What do I do? So I feel like I don't want to say it's easier connections, but it kind of is.
Okay.
So yeah, for that right now, probably no. Am I going to play their games? Heck yeah. I like what they're doing with their games. I think it's very fun. But,
well, we have a lot of comments that just popped into the Q&A, so I apologize to the guys that were posting some questions here in Q&A. Got Mary O'Leary. How long does it usually take you to paint one model? I think this question is for me, right? Depends on the model, Mary. On average, let's say take a model like this. If I were only painting this model, it would take me, I would say, between 60 and 90 minutes start to finish. I can usually paint between 3 to, say, 7 at a time at that pace. That's just how I work. What about yourself, Corey? How long does it usually take you to paint a model?
So we're talking about so one model then, or a group of models.
I think it's just one model was the
Model.
question, but yeah.
So one model is so for myself. One model I classify as a big model because if I'm doing small models, I do like 3 of them at a time.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But
I was just going at it from the
yeah,
average time it takes to do say a 30 mil model.
okay. So for that, I'm nowhere near being professional painter, or I don't think professional is even a word for painting when it comes to models. But um, I would say maybe an hour to 2 hours.
Okay, 1 to
But
2 hours.
I don't fully paint when I do it. I like to take like maybe 10-15 minute breaks every so like if I get done with one color, I might get up and walk around for about a couple minutes,
Sure.
sit back down, and
Okay.
then paint. Cause I'm not I'm not big into painting. I'm more into playing. But I like to paint, get stuff looking good for tables. But I would say maybe about 2 hours for myself to get of like a small model done.
Okay. All right. Let's tackle these. Um, you mentioned Action Points AP. Have you played AE World War II or AE Bounty by Black Ball Games? I think that's for you, Corey.
I have not. I've never even heard of them, to be honest.
AE Bounty
No, never heard of
was,
that one.
I think AE Bounty at one point was a Dark Sun Studio game, which was, I believe, Cypher had some relationship with at some point.
Okay.
Um, and AE World War II, that's also a Black Ball Games. I actually have some AE World War II miniatures that I picked up off eBay that I have not cracked yet. But I'm interested. My brother was interested in that alternate World War II stuff, so I picked up some for his birthday, and we will be trying those at some point. But yeah, AP systems are not. There's a lot of AP system games, for example, Anima Tactics has an AP system, as you know, and um, so does a game like Malifaux, where it's about managing your AP. Now, what's interesting about the Parallax game, like you said, you can actually overdrive that, so you can push past your normal your AP system and allow yourself to be vulnerable on defense. As it works
Yeah.
works out, that's exactly like Anima Tactics. Sorry,
Yeah.
Adam. I'm sorry, dude. Yeah, because you can dodge and defend in Anima Tactics. You can
Yeah, but you can only
counterattack.
spend what you have. You can only spend
Yeah,
what you have left if for Anima Tactics, though, right?
right. So if you
Yeah.
do a 3 or 4 point special attack in Anima Tactics, you are going to leave yourself vulnerable when it comes time for the opponent to hit you.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah. Okay, let's see. Attacking back at the same time, Reaper's Cav, Pulp Monsters, Pulp City as well. That's just a quick thought. Right. I have never played Pulp City. Was interested in that. The models look fun. That's another AP system game. So
That's the super. Is that a superhero one?
yes.
Yeah, I kickstarted that
And
one.
then final question here: how much longer will you be online? I plan on being online for the next hour-ish. So we'll be here painting. Robert Nolan, another member of the Cypher gaming community and a bunch of Facebook groups I've seen him post on. And I know Robert is he's been mentioned on the Total Command podcast as being we'll call him the salty veteran of wargaming. I'm sure he has 20 or more years of wargaming experience. Oddly enough, so do I. But I don't. I'm pretty sure he's played more systems than I have. So very interesting. Anyway, sorry to interrupt us with the slew of questions, but I just saw them pop in Q&A, and we try to answer them as we can here. All right. So yeah, that's what we're talking about tonight. The number of games that we get into, our criteria. I was just asking Corey about, why did he decide to go and actually volunteer for, say, Ninja, when he's got a lot of other games that he's interested in, and ample opportunity to volunteer for those as well. So cool. So yeah, that's. I'm glad that you were able to help expand on your answer there, Corey. I think it's.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's refreshing to see somebody so willing to try a number of things, and myself being on the opposite side of that right now. You know, where I'm trying to cut back. I'm trying to cut back and consolidate down to only ninja games. And I explained some of my reasons online. You know, a lot of that has to do with my son and trying to optimize my hobby such that it is not, you know, taking money away from my son, and can be helpful and still give me that rich depth of experience that I get from playing these. So so yeah, we can go into my answer a little bit if that's okay with you, Corey, unless you have anything else that you wanted to add.
Unless you have any more questions, man, whatever, you know, whatever. I'm glad to hear what you have to say, so that's fine with me.
All right, cool. So yeah, like, and I'll actually start back to where you were, which is, you know, you ran into us during the Malifaux days, and in those days, that was the only miniature game that we played, and we played it all the time, every time, was Malifaux, and we loved the version 1.5 of that game so much that we played it constantly, nonstop, and we had a giant fun community to play that game with. When all that ended, and we were no longer supporting Malifaux or playing Malifaux, we went through a period of exploration, where, you know, almost every week one of us would pull out a new game and we'd explore that game and play that game and decide if, hey, is this, you know, something that we want to keep around, keep on the menu, so to speak. And so we went through a number of games. The short list, I guess, Dystopian Legions, In Her Majesty's Name, Dead Man's Hand, War Machine, Blood Bowl, these games, Eldorado Anima Tactics, Super Dungeon Explorer, a whole slew of board games, and I know I'm leaving out at least another half dozen or more systems, many of which were miniature systems. So we went through this whole phase of, let's just play a bunch of miniature systems, review the miniature systems. Oh, Deep Wars, that was another one that I had a very short stint in. And so we went through that phase for a while, and that was fun, and it was exciting, and it was exploratory, and at the time, I had the kind of expendable income to where I could just go out and buy a couple factions, paint them up, and we could play the game and decide game such as In Her Majesty's Name. We would get people that stick around and play, then we would get other people that would not enjoy the game and they would sit out. And this went on for I want to say 6 months or so, maybe more. I mean, for some of the members of our group, this is still going on. There's still, you know, that bus left me a few stops back. So anyway, it was when we got into Anima Tactics, and you know, I had my baby, and I was looking to optimize my experience. You know, I wanted to make sure that, okay, if I'm painting at night, if I paint a couple hours each night, and I'm getting paid to paint because they're commissions, like what I'm working on right now, I want to be able to enjoy that, right? I don't want to paint 400 Skaven because somebody's making a Skaven army. I don't want to paint Space Marine number XXI, VI, whatever, because that's what people are playing. I want to paint miniatures that I want to paint, and I want to paint metal miniatures. I want to paint individuals. I want to paint anime style stuff, pinup stuff. This is what I really want to paint, because my time here is just as important to me as my time on the tabletop. So that was one of the initial draws for Anima Tactics, is, hey, I get to paint a very small amount of miniatures, but I can take my time on them. I can make them look beautiful, and And Cypher is one of the last studios left to really be cranking out these awesome metal kits. So yeah, so it had that going for it. Love the fluff. Let's make sure we're still on air. Did we just? We're still going, right? Okay. Well, Corey dropped out. Sorry. But anyway, I'll get into my long boring story here. So anyway, yeah. So I want to be able to enjoy my painting experience. I want to be able to enjoy my tabletop experience, and I need to have convenience around that too. So not only does the game have to be fast, it has to have a certain amount of depth to it. It has to be playable on a smaller surface. I need to be able to afford the terrain. I need to be able to paint my terrain and my miniatures along a reasonable timetable. And it was these games that gave me all of that. And it was these games and these games alone that gave me all of that. I got all of that experience playing the Cypher games. And that, to me, that was home. That was like, okay, this is where I'm staying, because I get everything that I was looking for in my, I'll call it my new gamer lifestyle out of these games. What did I lose by specializing in these games? Well, I lost a lot, actually. I lost the freedom to explore a bunch of other systems, and I kind of have to live vicariously through my friends now and drill Corey about his games of his playtest games and everything else that he's playing. So I lost that. I lost the compatibility to where if I'm at a store and my friends, 3 of my friends are there, and if they don't play the Ninja games, and a lot of my friends no longer play the Ninja games, then I don't really have anything in common with them. I don't get to game with them. I can't follow them from system to system week after week. So I lost that. And I think that's all I really lost. I mean, I also lost the ability to buy new systems and follow Kickstarters and all that stuff. I still do Kickstarters, but they're usually for game accessories. They're things that I can use in conjunction with these games that I will be primarily supporting. And yeah. Now, does that mean that I'm only playing Ninja games? Not technically, no, because I still have, for example, I still have my Saga army. I still have my Blood Bowl team. And I'm going to be keeping those things around because I play those, a few times a year. So I'll keep those around. But the plan is not to jump on any more of these bandwagons and just enjoy where I'm at, enjoy the shows, the conventions that I work, and turn this into a positive all around. So yeah, it's just that this system tend to fit me like a glove. It hit me where I wanted to be hit, and yeah, I mean, it's a win all around as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so let's see. 20 years of wargaming, not quite. I started playing tabletop miniatures in 2003. Okay, so maybe I am the old guy here. As I started playing miniature war games back in '91 is where I started. So I started with Rogue Trader 40K, and then all the way up to where I am at today, playing what I like to call one of the best kept secrets in skirmish games today, Helldorado. It's not so much a secret anymore. I think few people are starting to get, hey, this game figured out a lot of shit that other games and designers are still kind of working their way around. And I'll give some examples of that. And this is just my opinion. You can totally shoot me down, or discredit me, or say your piece. But I find that the dominant system solves a lot of problems that people have with setup. I find that the terraforming system gives another avenue of strategy, and that is played outside of list building. So that's fantastic. I mean, you got to think about it. This game was really fleshing out in 2006 with Asmodee, and simultaneous combat, command system, lemures. This game has things, it has mechanics to it that other games are just barely trying to figure out right now. A lot of the streamlining that people try to do ends up, I think, sucking a lot of the depth from games, and they just couldn't figure out how to do it with the kind of elegance and what's the word I'm looking for? The smoothness that a system like Eldorado is able to do. I mean, it's a D6 system for sure, but do you really need a system of very high arcing and low arcing probabilities when you have the add and subtract dice and you want the game to run fast and smooth? I don't think you do. I don't think you need a D20, for example, or D10 system for Eldorado would be horrible because you're counting up and down numbers when you really realistically want to have, an average of a 50% or 40-50% hit rate, because you need your game to move along a little bit more smoothly. And you've got plenty of options for re-rolls and success rolls and so forth buried in that system. So anyway, that's my long, inane ramble about why I got into these games and why I'm staying with these games. Because even if, and I know realistically, it would take quite a bit for a community to turn around and make this make Eldorado or Relic Knights or one of those games the number 3 game in the big picture of miniature wargaming. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with playing a more specialized game with a smaller crowd. I love our Cypher community. I love how close people can be because it is such a tight-knit community and a fun game to rally people around with. And just meeting the folks from Las Vegas this week that are part of our group, that was fantastic. Wow, we still have... I'm still here. Thanks, Mary. Okay. Corey, you back now?
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I lost connection as, 18.
Oh, no problem. Let me turn you back up because your mic level went back down. Let's turn you back up. I'm going to reload YouTube comments here. Once again, if you're just joining the show, thank you. Welcome to Play It Painted Live. If you want, drop us a note on what you're painting or what you should be painting. I don't know. It seems like a regular task here. Okay. Eldorado grabbed me back when Asmodee had it, but I didn't play it. I love the models. I demoed Eldorado for Cypher at the first Gen Con. They had it at Gen Con 2010. I was nicknamed Eldorado Bob. That's awesome. In addition, I did some editing for the English core book and wrote the mercenary fluff for Inferno. Awesome. We got to meet up, Eldorado Bob. I got to try to get out to Gen Con. Not this year, but maybe next year. Try to be out there again. And part of the playtest team. Nice. Are those Jack's deserters, Octave? Okay, apparently this person knows me. Yes, they are. These are Jack's deserters. So this is the commission that Jack brought by, or he actually bought in store on Saturday when we had our little ninja event, and I'm painting them up for him. So, and they're fun. These are fun models. I don't know if I will finish any tonight because I've kind of been rambling and been more into the conversation than the painting, which is kind of rare for me. But let's see. Any other questions while I've got people here? Currently, no. All right, Corey, so now that you're back, oh wait, let me get rid of all these. So, my opinion, what are the big games right now? Obviously, GW games are still big.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're losing. Not that they've lost market share, but I think that the market might be expanding a bit.
Yeah.
So, but they're, 40K is still still tops. I will one day figure out why. But yeah, sorry, I'm okay. I'm not gonna bash 40K, whatever. But yeah, so that's still tops. I don't think these games are ready to take that number 2 or even the number 3 spot from Privateer, and also I would point out that the quiet number 2 right now or number 3 is X-Wing / Attack Wing.
Yeah, I know it's getting really good.
Yeah, those are actually, people throw in Infinity or Malifaux into that discussion. And, those games are up there. Those games have grown in popularity. Well, I don't know about I think Malifaux might be about the same interest level, maybe even lower. At least locally here, that's what we see. But yeah, Star Trek Attack Wing and X-Wing, huge games. So, any thoughts on where you think the big games are right now, Corey? What are the big games?
Yeah, I think it's got to be definitely GW. I think is on top still.
Mm-hmm.
And for same thing, I'm never gonna know why. And then I want to say Privateer Press is probably coming in number 2 after that.
Yeah.
And then, they're pretty much either that or they're really close to the GW as far as the game goes. I don't really play either one of them anymore. I still have all the models, but I don't really play them anymore. Number 3, the only really big games I really know of is I want to say X-Wing's up there too, but I still don't see a lot of people playing it. Maybe it's just where I'm at. I know people are starting to play it, but for me, I don't really know who comes in third.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think there's a lot of games. It's just like for our local area. I don't really know what's coming in at number 3. I just those 1 and 2 is definitely Games Workshop and then Privateer Press.
Yeah.
And after that, I think it's a lot of smaller groups that play their own individual stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably accurate.
I definitely think Mantic at some point is going to make a big jump, just because the games I think are very well written.
Okay.
And then the models, from what I've have, I just only have the Dead Zone box set and a Veerman starter for Dreadball, but it's really cheap. Like the stuff that I got for $80 for Dead Zone was a ridiculous amount of stuff that I would never get out of GW.
Sure.
And it's a completely different game. And I think what they've got going is a pretty good start. And they just need to keep going with it, I think. And I think one day they'll be meeting up at the top sometime. It's just a very small following, I think, right now, since they're kind of just starting, from what it seems to me.
Yeah, they're getting a following for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think number 3 is it's local area as far as what everyone plays, because for me down here, I'm not playing Privateer Press really. I'm not playing GW, but for me, I'm playing a lot of Dead Zone. I'm not playing a lot of Mantic, but I'm also playing a lot when I get the opportunity with you guys to play some Cypher Studio stuff. So,
okay,
those for me are my close 3 for I think for out here that I've seen.
So outside of gaming with us on the Ninja stuff, have you kind of broken out and shown people the Eldorado or Anima or any of those games on your own? Or
yeah, I whenever I go to the game store, I usually bring my models and my paint stuff with me.
mm-hmm.
And that's because if I get some free time, I want to try to paint. I usually dread painting, but I gotta get it done. So,
sure.
I usually bring it with me, and then usually people will be like, "What is those models, and I'll get into it with like, oh, I was cleaning an Anima Tactics model, and he was like, oh, what was that? And I was like, oh, that's Anima Tactics. I gave him a little bit of rundown because I don't play a lot of Anima Tactics, but I gave him a little bit of an overview of the game, and then I showed him a little bit of Eldorado, and he was like, oh yeah, I've heard of that game, and it looks pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, if you get some time, I'm here. Like, I'll try to come at least once a week. Just find
Sure.
me, and I can totally show you how to play a game.
Hmm.
I think for me, it's just trying to get a startup of a following. It's just the hardest part if no one's playing it or no one really knows what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that is tough. Especially when you're the only person in the shop that plays it.
yeah, like I
Uh,
know people that have, as far as they have armies. It's just they need someone that probably needs to get the game going. So
or somebody to say, okay, can we all agree to bring our Eldorado this Wednesday or whatever, right?
yeah,
You need
yeah,
somebody to be able to say that, and then people will say, sure, I'll bring mine, and then you can actually get some gaming going.
I think
So that's
that's
cool.
where I kind of lack the experience that you would have as far as getting that going. Um, just of trying to find people or finding ways to get it started. Um, but I know like because at Ease when we did a huge game day, we had like I feel like we had a really good turnout, and
Hmm.
everyone was like, oh, this game is actually pretty cool. And I feel like I think every store needs to kind of have that initial like a kick off basically or whatever you want to call it, like a kickstart for that game. It's like the store. If I go to the game store and be like, hey, 2 months from now I want to run a huge I want to run out your back gaming area for like the entire day. I've got a group of people coming
Hmm.
down to play and show off this game. Or you do was that okay? I feel like that gets a good if the owner gets a good like an email out or post on Facebook or all the social media stuff gets that word out and people have been interested in it. Then you're bound to be able to show up, and especially if you come down and everyone from up north comes down here and everyone from down south comes up here
Yep.
and meets in the middle, it's a good start to the game because it's a lot of people going
Yeah.
and
Which you need, yeah, and you need somebody, some reliable people that show up for your events.
yeah,
Hmm.
and like just learning from these conventions, I've only done the two of them, but just learning from that as far as you need to actually be playing the game, not just have it set up, is a
Hmm.
big thing because I know no one would show up, but as soon as someone would show up and like look and stop and want to play the game, everyone would swarm the tables and just watch, and
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. I was like, holy, this guy wants a demo, this guy wants a demo, this guy wants a demo, but if there's
Yeah.
no one that wants to help with even showing off the game, it's kind of hard because it's just
Right.
models on that table that's like every other game.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
It is. I was talking about this last week. Actually, it's super hard to go into a shop by yourself and just set up your stuff and say, okay, who wants to play this game? Because gamers hate that. They would hate to be the only guy to try a game. I don't know what's up with that, but they're like, oh, no, I'm not interested. I'm not interested. You actually need somebody to start it. You need,
yeah,
and I'm not talking about you, the volunteer. You need somebody there that's like, okay, let's play this game, because then people will actually get around it. They want to see it in action. They don't want to be the person. They don't want to be the first one in the pool, so to speak.
yeah.
Um,
I usually
and
take
it's
that role to be honest. I don't mind taking that role as far as being the first person to buy into a game.
mm-hmm,
It's just me though, I like I said, I'm a collector slash gamer, so I know Dave and I were talking and we were looking at Firestorm Armada. They came out
mm-hmm.
like 2.0 or something like that, and I got some comments of, oh, no one plays that, so don't go buy it, and I was like, if it does to me, it doesn't matter if no one's playing it, but if I know someone else that's interested in it, then I'm gonna buy it. I don't like that whole thing of, oh, no one's playing it, so why would you buy it? My whole thought on it is if you want to try it and you've got someone else interested, then why not jump into the game?
Sure.
and give it a try.
Do you think though that can be counterproductive if you are let's just go back to Eldorado for a second here.
Okay.
If you're trying to get people, if you show up to a weekly event and you're trying to get people to play Eldorado, but then you're involved in a dozen or more other games, and it's like, well, I want to play this game this week, and I want to play this game this week, and I want to play this other game this other week. Do you feel that it's counterproductive to when you're trying to make the case for, hey, this game has players and stability behind it, to be bouncing around systems like that? Uh-oh. I might have lagged him out with my question. Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Yeah, I lagged him out with my question. Sorry, Corey. I don't know. What do you, the viewers, feel about that? Yes, I mean, when you volunteer for something, you're not own you, but if you're trying to start a community, trying to get a play group, don't you need to show coming back. Okay, we're back. Was I the one that dropped out?
I think that might have been me again. It kept giving me this. I got this off. I got kicked off, and it said you didn't install this thing from Google Plus, and then I exited out, and it let me jump right back in the game.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That is interesting. Okay.
So we were saying counterproductive as far as playing multiple games going to the game that you're playing. Yes. So my answer to that is I like to say I'm pretty dedicated to as far as if someone says, hey, or for me, we trying to get this thing started down here at Paradise. If I say, hey, Thursday nights is Eldorado and Decipher Studios, then that's what that's going to be. It's not going to be me going, okay, well, this Thursday, I want to do my Cypher Studio stuff, but next Thursday, I want to play some Dead Zone, and then next Thursday, I want to play this game. For me, it's, if I say, hey, Thursday nights is doing this, then Thursday nights I'm going to be doing that. I just like to think that that's the kind of person that I am, that if I say, hey, I want to be running this, then I'm going to run it.
Okay.
I'll try to keep my words best I can as far as, going to all, like, the conventions and stuff, or, trying to help you guys out and stuff. I try to keep my words with that. But if I say, hey, Thursday nights I'm going to be running this, then I'm going to be running that, I very much plan to run that. Now, if no one shows up, or someone says, hey, I'm not going to be there, or, hey, we're going to take a break off this Thursday night, then, maybe I'll show up and play something else. But if I say, hey, Thursday nights I'm running this game, then I'm going to be running that until they either kick me out of the store or no one is interested in playing it anymore.
Have you tried doing that yet?
I've got some interest. Like right now with work and stuff, it's kind of, I've got a lot of going on in the next couple of months. So
Sure.
For me, I want to have a good time where I can start it and know that if I have to take off like a week or two because of training or something, that it's still going to be running when I come back. Because I've already got some people that are interested in Relic Knights. So I don't want to say I want to get started with Relic Knights because, I don't even have models for it yet, or, I didn't even have the Kickstarter for it, but I definitely want to do something with that, but I also want to do Eldorado and Ammo Tactics still, since I think they're very fun games. So that's something I have to work on and figure out for myself, I guess. But
yeah,
ultimately, it's going to be coming down to what I don't want to say what everyone else wants to play, but sometimes it comes down to what everyone else does want to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's you could end up with a situation where it's not even worth, in your opinion, or by the criteria you just mentioned, it may not even be worth trying to continue with these games because, and they may not be. I've noticed personally that gamers hate having money, and they hate a lot of the really features that I love about these games. So they don't. They're not going to appeal to everybody for one reason or another. So being realistic and saying, okay, there's not going to be a giant following for these games, but if I can get a dedicated following, it's probably better. And that's something I think is a realistic attitude to have about these games. But to my question, here's actually what I was asking.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm bad with that whole question answer thing.
Okay, yeah, no worries. But here's let me just run you through an example here. Okay. Let's say that let's say one Wednesday, you're at your store and you end up running, say, Eldorado for somebody, and the person's like, "Oh yeah, I'm really interested in this game. I want to play it. Can't wait to try it. Some more, right? More past the demo." And you're like, "Cool, okay. I'll totally meet you next. I'll totally meet you next week, right?"
Yes.
And next week you show up, and that person isn't there. So you're like, okay, no worries. I'll play whatever the people in the store are playing. So people in the store are playing. We'll just say Flames of War for whatever reason, just because I see it on the comment there. So they play Flames of War, and you're like, oh, cool, I'll get into the game and I'll play Flames of War with these guys. So then you play Flames of War with those guys. And then the next week, you come back, you're ready to play some more Flames of War, and then suddenly the Eldorado guy shows up again, and he's like, hey, I want to play Eldorado. And you're like, oh, but this week I decided I'm going to play Flames of War. So then he's like, okay, well, maybe I'll jump into Flames of War 2. So with the Flames of War group, they continue, and then they change games, and this guy... let's say they go to, I don't know, Saga. I'm like, okay, we're going to play Saga now. And you come back the next week, and now they want to play Saga. And now this guy that wanted to play Eldorado was about to buy models here and jump into this system, and about to buy Flames of War and jump into that system. And now he's frantically trying to keep up with, whatever the whims are of a group of established gamers. This might be his first miniature game. Do you feel that switching around might end up being counterproductive? Given, and I'm just using my scenario there as a kind of a paranoid, what if scenario.
Okay. So let's see. So if that happened to me, so someone says, "Hey, I want to try this." I say, "Okay, I'll meet you next week." He doesn't show up, and I play whatever someone else is playing. Mm-hmm. For me, for my personally, I pretty much, I don't want to say I bring everything that I have, but I usually like to bring a little bit of everything if I'm going to the game store, not knowing what someone's going to have.
Yeah.
And usually there's not a time where I don't have, I can see how I could be counterproductive as far as, if someone's just trying to get into major games, and I'm throwing them all around and stuff, like, oh no, do this, do this, do this. But
it's not even you in this example. It's not even you.
Anyone in general.
Might be what I'm saying is you might be in a store where you've got a couple of regulars that are actually playing other games and want that freedom to play a bunch of different games, and that's well within their right. And they're the ones, and because you want to game with those guys and keep up with them, they're the ones that are actually kind of facilitating this, what's the word I'm looking for? This schizophrenia here with regards to gaming systems, and to try to get somebody to plant roots. That way, do you feel that that's counterproductive, or what can you do to try to combat something like that?
So for me, I like to try to stick with a few games, but for me, I can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to figure out how to answer this question.
Well,
Um,
there may not be a good answer for it. It's just this is just
yeah,
the only reason why I bring it up is because I've seen this happen.
yeah. Where people will just jump from one game to the next game to the next game to the next game.
Yeah, because if let's say like if you're the volunteer in the store
Yeah,
and you are trying to get your game off the ground for whatever reason, and there's nothing wrong with saying, okay, these guys in this store play Flames of War. That's what they're playing, and I'm not gonna pick up. I'm not gonna push Eldorado until I feel like there's an opportunity, right?
yeah, yeah,
That's an acceptable answer, or might be an acceptable answer. But
yeah,
what I'm asking is, when you're the guy, you're the guy in the store, you're the ninja guy in the store,
yeah.
trying to push your games, and you have a couple of potential leads. Is it potentially counterproductive to to hop into the other systems and follow people that are, say, browsing a bunch of different systems, or is it really that you're more content to follow where they're going, and and that's okay. It's not like you've abandoned your post, but you're going to follow these guys for a while, and you're going to let them take the lead, and you can put your game to the side for now, and maybe try to come back to it later.
So yeah, so for me then, I would, if I go, okay, this guy wants to get into the game, doesn't show up, comes back and be like, hey, I know you didn't make it, let's try it again some other time, whatever. I would still give it the chance of
Sure.
playing like of Ninja games just because I think they're good games. So I would still like to have I mean, for me, I still have my stuff with me. But for other people, that might not be the case. They might just only bring what they're going to play.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go, I pretty much bring like basically my transport bag with me, and that's got all my Eldorado, all my Anno Tactics, and then whatever else I plan on bringing with me. So
Right.
if I'm going to be playing Flames of War, and then the guy doesn't show up, I'm going to be like, oh, this guy ditched me. What the heck? I don't know. That's a tricky
But
question.
that's the gamer flake. That's
That
a
is
very
the
common, popular move amongst the gamers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know if I can answer that. I mean, like, for me, I would whatever someone's playing, I'm glad to play. But if
Yeah.
there's in a game that I really enjoy, then I'm gonna pursue that person and be like, hey, let's really, I want to try this. You should try this game. Let's set up a time when you can make it, and if you can't make it, shoot me a text, and when you're free and I'm free, let's totally meet up and play this game.
Right. And it's also the what we call the power of two.
Yeah.
Two players are always going to beat one player. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter it doesn't matter how skilled or how convincing the one player is. If you have two people in a shop that are playing a game while you're the lone person trying to push something else, you're going to lose every time because the gamers that come by don't want to hop into a non-existent game. They want to spectate an existing game, and this is just gamer nature.
It's
right?
like
You're even you yourself might. I'm sorry.
It's just that mentality of if no one's playing it, why am I going to buy it and then never play it? And
Yeah.
like I understand that, but for me, it's completely different.
Okay.
For Firestorm Armada, it's it's different. I've never played a space game.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was talking to Dave and he said, hey, the rule set looks pretty cool. They changed it from the first one, from what I understand. And I was like, hey, let's split the box set. Let's give it a try. If we don't like it, whatever. So we wasted, I don't want to say wasted $50, but hey, we split it. If we both like it, let's keep going. And it totally beats just me going out and buying it and then me having all this stuff and never getting to use it.
Yes. But right now, is it fair to say that you're in that exact situation with Eldorado?
Yeah, it kind of is for me right It kind of stinks. I feel like a lot of people, when I explain it, they go, "Oh, I've heard of that game. I don't think it's for me."
Mm-hmm.
But then no one's really willing to give it a try, and it's like, for me, I can't really judge anything until I've at least tried it. So I mean, that's just the way I look at games, though. If I haven't tried it, and everyone's like, "Oh no, don't play that. It's not good." Yeah, I don't really go off what everyone else thinks because I like pretty much everything that's out there. So
Okay.
I'm trying to answer your question as best I can without.
Well, it's a real life dilemma, and it's
Yeah.
not. There aren't very many. It's a tough. It is a very tough question because
Yeah.
you can just you can jump in, join the crowd there, and
Yeah.
and you should probably and start playing their games with them. But the question is going to be, when are you going to be the one to go, hey, I actually pushed this game.
Yeah.
Does any of you want to try it? That at some point that probably should happen.
Yeah.
Um,
And I know it will at some point. It's just the right time.
Yeah.
It's gotta be the right time for me. It's gotta be the right time for everyone else, and now it's the right time for my wife now too. So.
mhm. Now, see, here's an interesting thing. With your wife, you have 2 players.
We do.
2 players is very powerful.
It is, and
Just explain to you how 2 players can take down your entire operation if
yeah,
they just continue to keep playing. That's exactly how. That's exactly how SoCal Malifaux worked.
yeah,
It was just 2 players that would consistently meet up, that loved the game, and they just kept playing it. And their excitement about the game was contagious, and that's really what took off.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's interesting because there is no. I don't know that there. You have 2 options. People are playing a game regularly in your store, and you get a bunch of leads.
hmm
You can continue to carry stuff around, hoping that the leads show up. That's something I do, so
Yeah.
that when they do show up, you give them priority. Hey, you wanted to play this game again? We're ready to go.
Yeah.
And they can at that point they can back off, they can flake, they can do whatever they want. But now it's on them. If
yeah,
if you dove in too deep on like a side project, or now you're following these guys into Flames of War or whatever, and then the guy comes back, well, you got to make the call there. Was I serious about showing this guy this? Am I serious about trying to get this started in my store, or can I wait?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing wrong with waiting either. You can be
Yeah.
like, well, I'll wait. But the problem with waiting is,
You might lose that guy
Everybody-
who really wants to try it.
yeah, everybody waits in gaming. I
Yeah.
mean, we deal with this weekly on SoCal Tabletop. Oh, I like this game. I'm interested in it, but I want to see are people playing it. And yeah, okay, it is an investment or whatever. And maybe some people don't want to put in the effort to push the game themselves. Maybe they don't like the game enough to push it. But if you do like the game enough, sitting back and saying, well, I'm going to wait till somebody else is going to push it or play it, that's pretty lazy, I guess, for lack of a better term there. But I don't know. It's just again, just an opinion here. All right, let's see if
Because so for myself, I mean, I'll give you a little about Sarah and myself. Then, if you like, Sarah is. I don't want to say she's totally cool with it, but we go to the game store and I'm like, hey, here's a game. Would you want to try it? And she says yes, we buy it. So she loves the board games. She enjoys playing some of the miniature games with me. She's got a big hit with Dead Zone. She can't get enough of it for some reason.
that's awesome.
So yeah, and it's nice because it's like I don't have to always go to the game store to play a game because she's right here. So for me, it's like, especially with Kickstarters. So I've been doing a lot of Kickstarters, especially with miniatures because that's just my thing. Even for me, it's like, okay, this game looks pretty cool. I will go ahead and I'll back it, and then I usually get 2 forces. That way, I have one, and then she has one, and I will pick one that I like, and she'll pick one that she thinks looks cool. And that way,
Okay.
it's kind of like if we want to try it and play it more, then what we do is you bring it to the game stores. So
Okay.
this actually happened recently, where we kind of slowed down with Eldorado a little bit. I haven't really got a lot of hits on anyone really wanting to play it. So I've kind of slowed down a little bit with it. I don't want to keep like trying to pump people into playing this game if no one has any interest in it. So
Right.
I don't want to keep pushing that button if no one wants to play it. I'm going to let it go for a while. Um, so we went to the game store, and we ended up bringing Dead Zone with us, and then we sat down and played Dead Zone, and it was like people were like, "Oh, what is this? What is
Right.
this?" Because you're there playing the game. It's not just me set up there waiting for someone to show up to learn the game.
Yeah, that
So
doesn't really work. Right.
yeah, it's just you with a table set up. I mean, granted, the tables that I make, I like to think are pretty nice for people to look
Mhm.
at. But at the same time, it's like I can't just go there and set up a game, wait for someone to show up and want to try it. People don't do that at game stores. They go there to play the games that they're going to play. Um,
Mhm.
so for me, it's if I get a game and I bring it and Sarah and I play it enough and we get a good grasp of it, we'll go to the game store and we'll start playing. And people will come up to us and be like, "Oh, what game is this? What game is this? How does this work? Who makes it? How do you play?" And I've got some times that people have been like asking me for Dead Zone. They're like, "How do you like? Can you show me how to play?" And I'm just like, I can teach you. I don't know all the rules. I just started, but um, so like I agree with you. The power of two is just ridiculous. If you've got two that are just playing it constantly, it's eventually some people are going to notice it and go like, "Oh, maybe I should buy that game. Looks pretty cool."
Right.
Or ask, because I've got people that I've given one of the guys in the group was like, hey, I want to try Dead Zone, and then his friend was like, "Oh yeah, I've been looking at that one too," but no one wants to
Mhm.
put the $100 forward down just to go and buy it. They want to try it first. So
Yeah.
I'm the exact opposite though. I'm willing to buy it and then try it, and if I don't like it, well,
Understood.
all right, I don't like it,
Yeah.
whatever. I still have it. Um,
All right. So, okay. Is it safe to say that you've played more games of Dead Zone at this point than Eldorado?
ooh, I would like to say I think they're probably even. I'd like to think that they're pretty close to being about average.
Okay. So let's assume that they're even,
Yep.
and you just like you said, Sarah really enjoys playing it. You seem to get bites when you break it out at the store.
Yep.
Point blank, why not just move over to Dead Zone and push that? If you guys really enjoy the game, she enjoys the game, you guys can play it. It seems like it can pick up. Why not move over? Why continue with the Ninja games?
I think Ninja is still. I mean, it's like Mantic. They're still in the roots of just starting, but I feel like Ninja is still something that's still developing, and I feel like they have some really good stuff that's out there still, and I'm still trying to grasp onto it. People wanting to play it. I don't want to let that game go. I don't not say I don't want to let it go or I'm not going to play it anymore, but I still have that feeling of like, hey, I volunteered for this. I still have that that dedication that I had when I first wanted to push this game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why I wanted to volunteer for it. It's because I enjoy it. So,
Okay.
yeah, there's people playing it, but I mean, personally, I think Eldorado is one of the best games I've played. Sure, we both enjoy other games, but for me, I think Eldorado is still my favorite miniature games out there. So
Okay.
it's something that I don't want to let go of. Basically, is what I'm trying to say
Sure.
with the whole
I
volunteering
don't
thing.
think. Well, don't get me wrong. I don't take this the wrong way. I'm not actually trying to get you to quit Eldorado or anything like that.
Oh
Or
yeah.
Ninja. I'm asking, like, wouldn't it make more sense
Yeah. No,
with the kind of bite that you have on, and you can't, it sounded like you were a little, earlier you're saying, okay, I can't find anyone to play Eldorado with me locally, and it sounded like this is not the right situation to be jumping in and pushing the game.
yeah.
If that's the case, doesn't it make more sense to get behind behind like a game like Dead Zone or Dreadball or something that's starting to pick up steam, and then come back to Eldorado a little bit later?
Yeah. Um, and that's the same time, it's like, for me, that's a lot. I feel like that'd be a lot for me to have to do. Not saying I'm not willing to try it, but still, since it's my first whole volunteer thing, I don't even really know the whole reins of even doing half the stuff, of even setting up an event, doing the basic stuff. So,
Hmm.
um, I mean,
But
I
that's, I mean, that's what you jump in and you learn.
yeah,
The only way to learn that kind of stuff is just to get out and do it. And like, I can tell you firsthand, the first time the first event that I ran on my own, because I used to run events with my brother,
yeah.
but the first event I ever ran on my own, I think I had like 2 people show up. That was
Oh,
it. The first demo day I set up, I had 2 people show up, and that's you start that way. That's part of the reason why a lot of gamers won't volunteer, because it's like they're that initial cold response is can crush your ego a little bit.
yeah,
But you gotta be willing to take a hit like that, um, if you are really serious about pushing a game.
yeah,
Um, and you gotta have a little initiative, and people are gonna come by and heckle you. You gotta be thick-skinned. Dave and I talk about this quite a bit. Dave from Total Command podcast. He and I talk about this kind of stuff. Like you gotta be willing to take hits like that, and if you are serious about pushing your game,
yeah,
um, you will get that. It's a
yeah,
sad truth of the gaming community. You will actually get that.
yeah.
So let me reload some comments here. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to steer you away from Ninja or anything like that. I'm just wondering if you really enjoy these other games, you want to play these games, and people are picking them up. Um, there's absolutely no fault in following the crowd and jumping in and playing follower, and then maybe later on you can follow somebody else that might be pushing Eldorado or one of the
Yeah.
other Ninja games. Um, let's see. Big games: GW, 40K, then Fantasy, Privateer Press, Warhammer Hordes, Infinity, X-Wing, Flames of War, Malifaux, and other skirmish games. Okay. Okay. So he's got, looks like Robert's got GW, then Privateer, then Infinity, X-Wing is number 3. Yeah, it's probably pretty accurate, I would say. But yeah, it's volunteering it's a heartbreaking thing, man. It really is. Especially at the
Yeah.
stores. At the stores, it's horrible because, like I was saying before, gamers hate being the first people to do anything. They want to be the like one of many, and they gotta hold hands and make sure that they can all jump in the pool at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a learned survival skill because of how expensive and time consuming miniature games really are. So
Yeah.
so yeah, it's tough. See, any other comments here? I do not have any. Let's try the Q&A. Okay, that's done. There was a... Oh, okay. Robert had to bail. Good night, Robert. Thanks for joining us on the Q&A. That was really interesting what you had to share regarding your thoughts there on all the different miniature game systems. Wow, I did not get as far on these as I was hoping to get. That's okay.
Honestly, when we do this, I usually end up painting for like 2 minutes out of like the 2 hours we're on. It's weird. I can't like think, talk, and paint at the same time.
Oh, yeah, you're half distracted when you do this. And my painting isn't quite as good when I'm trying to concentrate on making a point or asking a question. But I don't know. You get used to it, I guess. So Corey, what are your plans for the summer here?
Well, staying in California still.
Okay.
Honestly, I kind of just, for me, my lifestyle is kind of have to take it day by day, to be honest. Um, I try to plan a little bit in the future, as far
Mm-hmm.
as like a few coming weeks ahead. But farther than that, I can't really say like too much because I don't really know what's gonna like work if we're going to do something crazy or or honestly I just kind of roll with it week by week. So the summer I'm hoping to get a lot more gaming. So that's something I'm hoping to do. Um, Maybe make a few trips. Although Sarah and I are looking to move from where we're at now, we're looking to downsize um, into something smaller.
Okay.
Um,
You mean, but still in the same general area?
yeah, yeah. I still have to stay. I still have to stay here close by. I can't really go too far.
Okay.
Um, but we're looking to move, downsize a lot. So I'm going to be trying to. Actually, I'm going to be trying to sell off my tables that I built probably sometime soon. Um,
The Eldorado tables?
yeah, they're
Mm-hmm.
fun to build, and I totally enjoy building them. It's just they take up a lot of space, unfortunately. But um, that, or I'll put them in like a storage unit, and then if when a demo days come up, I can have them to use. But that, and I'm looking to try and do more with terrain stuff as well. As far as I want to start like building terrain more, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's something I really enjoy doing, so it's something I'm going to try to do. Is maybe like a little side thing. If someone wants something built, I can hopefully build something that they're looking for, something like that. I don't know.
Like
Um,
commission, you're talking about doing like commission terrain work for people.
yeah, maybe something small, nothing too fancy. I don't have all the fancy tools, and I still have a full daytime job that requires a lot of my time. So
Mm-hmm.
um, maybe something with that. That'd be cool because I enjoy doing the train thing. Um, and then some more plans is definitely trying to get Ninja started over where I'm at. Um, I think it's going to be a hard
Don't
push
sell
for
your
me.
tables then.
Yeah, I know the one of the tables exactly. At least
Mixed
until
messages.
yeah, until it gets started for a while, I probably couldn't sell them off. But
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you could always just use mats or whatever. I was just
yeah,
messing with you.
and to be honest, I'm thinking about just getting roll up mats. It's so much easier to store, and
Yeah,
I
I mean,
and I
even
can
the
bring all the grain I want. So
right, like I have those three foam tables that I built, and storing
yeah,
those sucks. But
yeah,
um, and so a lot of times, if it's a weekly thing, I'll bring a mat instead of one of those, or
yeah,
sometimes I'll just bring one of those because there's terrain already on it.
yeah,
That's good enough. But it just depends on and how the setup is going to go.
yeah. And so I've got that, and then I've got some Kickstarter stuff coming in. I think so.
Um, do you know what Kickstarter stuff is coming in for you?
So I think it's not really, well, I don't consider it the summertime, but I think Drake is supposed to be coming in I want to say November, or like really early November. So I know we're getting out of the summer, but I think that's the next one I'm supposed to be getting in the mail.
Okay, that's cool.
Um, that was, I think we talked about that one point a while
Mm-hmm.
ago. So I backed that one. Um, I think that's the next one that's coming in actually, and after that, I think I have a lot of waiting for the next ones. But
Approximately how many Kickstarters have you backed currently that you're waiting on?
okay, so I think I've backed a total of like 11 or 12.
Okay,
Um, and then I'm
that's a
waiting
lot of
on.
Kickstarters.
Yeah, I can't help it. I told you, I got issues. Um, I think I'm still waiting on like I think I'm waiting on a good majority of them. I think I've only really gotten like 4 or 5 of them in so far.
Okay.
And that's to include Rivet Wars, which I'm still waiting for Wave 2 to ship out. So that's not even. I don't even consider that.
Have you played Rivet Wars yet?
Yeah, I enjoy that game. That's really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, that and I'm still. Sarah and I did the Arena Rex.
Oh yeah.
Navigator.
There's no telling when that game's gonna ship. I haven't even seen. I think we got an update. I want to say 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, they only had I think they still have 4 or 5 models on production line to keep continuing.
Yeah, they're still working on that Lion that took forever.
Yeah, so whenever that comes in, but Sarah and I played with the paper models. There was a time where we were playing 4 or 5 times a night. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's actually
cool.
Pretty cool the way the whole mechanic system. I don't know if you did the print and play set of it or not, but
we did actually. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah really likes it, so we did that a while, and then we kind of slowed down on that. And then there was a time where we were kind of slow with money, so Kickstarter slowed down. But now that we're both making more money, Kickstarters are coming back. So,
is there anything? Have you? What was the last Kickstarter you jumped in on?
So the most recent one was actually Bunnies versus Zombies, or Zombies.
Oh, yeah, Bunnies versus Zombies. Yeah. And that
one
that actually canceled.
Yeah, I found that out. And I was like, oh, I just backed it, and the next day they canceled it. So I'm gonna blame it on myself, basically, why they canceled it. I jumped onto it. So.
No, I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know that the timing on that Kickstarter was very good timing, because the established gaming crowd it sounds like we're all pretty burned out on zombie games at the moment.
Yeah.
We're full up on zombie games. And then, the crowd that really, I think, would really take to Bunnies versus Zombies is the crossover crowd. The guys, the comic crowd that may not be playing all the zombie games that we play. That crowd probably really like Bunnies versus Zombie. The problem with that, though, is I don't feel that we have yet really even tapped the surface of the crossover crowd. I think that's the...
Yeah.
And I always look at the...
Another thing I think that they might have, the reason why is, I think, so I'll give you a little bit of what my thought on it is, as far as, so, what the heck is that name? The Mercs company, or whatever the heck they're called, when they did Myth, as soon as that thing got kickstarted, the next day they had another Kickstarter already starting. And, they had, I don't want to say they made all these promises and stuff, but, I think when you start getting a lot of Kickstarters going back to back to back without really finishing the prior one, it kind of puts a bad taste in people's mouths, as far as you don't even have the first one out. How are you going to start another one?
That's a really good point. Yep.
So I don't know if that was it, but I know I was kind of upset with Mercs when I kept getting emails about this other game, and I'm like, I'm not interested in that game. I'm interested in the one that I'm buying from you guys. And not saying that Ninja did that at all. I don't think they did that at all. But I think once you have one Kickstarter going, and then you have the next one starting a month after, for me that's kind of you're just trying to get money out of people. It's not you're trying to devote anything to this game.
Yeah, it's a good point. And they were just hot off the heels of their highly successful SDE Kickstarter.
Yeah, so for me, it might have been a little bit of that, and if they realized that, then good on them. Because I mean, for me, Ninja, I kind of have to buy. I don't want to say I have to buy this stuff, but I'm willing to buy this stuff since I'm kind of invested in it right now. But for me, if it's a gaming company that if they're going to make all these promises to have this one game like the best ever, and then 10 minutes later say, oh, we've got a new Kickstarter coming out next week. How much time are they going to put towards the one that they just kickstarted?
Yeah.
So that's my thought. I don't enjoy when people do that. It's kind of like, you made all these promises. I hope you can keep them. Hope you're satisfied with, you satisfy all these customers, because I don't exactly know what happened with the Myth one, but people were complaining about the rule book, and it's not completed, and it's like they didn't know I don't want to say no play testing of it, but from what I understand, and I try to read rule books as best I can, but a lot of people were saying that they basically wrote the rule book as if they had been playing the game for a very long time, and it wasn't really people that haven't played the game friendly, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So it wasn't very beginner friendly from what I got out of it. So there were just things in the rulebook that I was like, I don't understand how the heck this is supposed to work. You don't even have a quick start demo game for this. It's just, here's the rules, good luck.
Sure.
Actually, I told that to Adam when I play tested, and I was like, hey, for me, I don't care about the rules if I'm trying to learn a game. I just want to know the basics. You tell me the basics, and if I think the basics are good, then I will be glad to jump into the game and give it a try. But if you don't give me any sort of basics of the game as far as how anything works, and you just say, here's the rule book, good luck, I kind of have an issue with that. It's not making it user friendly at all. And I find a lot of the times that I actually go back to quick start rules more than I go back to rule book for basic things that I just usually end up forgetting. And I don't have to go digging through a 200-page rule book to find one little answer that I need.
Okay.
That's me though. That's my personal thought on it. But
that makes sense.
Yeah. So when people just do one Kickstarter right after the other and they just try to push it, for me, it's not. For me, I don't think it's going to work out well for them. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I don't know. I stopped following it after I kept getting all these emails and just random junk about this other game that they were creating. So. Yeah,
it looks fishy when you do stuff like that.
It's
I agree with you. You want to see, especially if you're already a backer, you want to see that your project has some priority and they're trying to fulfill. Yeah. They're trying to make good on the promises they made to you to get your money in the first place. So that makes sense.
Yeah. And just someone I know we're kind of getting off. I don't want to say we're getting off track or not with the whole thing, but
it's fine.
The way that they came back with this whole myth thing, it kind of blew my mind. I was like, you make a game for people. I mean, not for people. You make the game for yourself, but you sell it to people. And just some of the comments back, on some of their posts, it was like, oh, this is the game that we're now trying to kickstart. We don't have even half the stuff to make for the one that you just bought, but we're trying to make you guys buy this new one. And, that's cool, whatever. If you just want money from people, you're a whole person. But it was just someone that said, I backed this game. I don't want to know everything else about this other game. I don't want to get saying an update, and I look at it and it says it's an update for your other game that you're creating.
Yeah, that's pretty garbage.
And I feel like at both sides, the company has some rights, hey, this is my game, yes, and, if I can say, I can post this if I want to, whatever. But the guy was like, I backed this game, I didn't back that game. If I backed that game, then sure, send me all the emails you want. But, I want updates on the game that I backed, because I backed that game for a reason, I don't want 20 updates, and out of those 20, I don't want 19 of them to be about this new game. I want 19 of them to be about the progress you've made on the game that I backed.
Yeah.
And maybe every once in a while come in with, oh, well, check out this game. But the way the company handled it, they were just like, no, this is our stuff, and we could do it. And I was like, you can't. If you're trying to sell something, that's just horrible for business to just kind of act that way. I was like, you really? And that kind of made me really frustrated. I was like, I don't even know how to describe that how I felt, or even how to put it into words. But
Well, yeah, that's not. It doesn't count as an update. And the other thing is, how is a company going to build any integrity with you if they're just being,
yeah,
if their updates are promises for other things that
yeah,
you may not even be interested in.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. It's if you want their money, they're going to get their money. So
Hmm.
unfortunately, that's all it comes down to is how much money can I make off of this. So,
Right. And you're right. It makes the company look bad because it's like, okay, well, on their next Kickstarter, I'm going to be wondering the same thing. Am I backing
yeah,
this game, or am I backing their ability to make another commercial for me for
yeah.
another game?
Or am I backing the game that they're trying to create for their next Kickstarter?
right. So yeah, I
So,
could see where you can get really frustrated with something like that.
so that kind of threw me off a little bit, and I was like, I didn't think gaming companies were actually like that, and then I was like, oh, okay, I guess people actually do that. So, wow,
Hmm.
good job, guys.
Yeah.
But
All right.
uh,
Well, let's see here. It is getting kind of late in the evening. We're
yeah,
actually into overtime here. Let me
I'm
go
about to
ahead
take
and
sleeping
I
time.
gave us a little bit extra time because we started so late. Um, any other comments? I think that's it. I'm putting some
Okay.
question marks here from Tin Man, but I don't know what that's referring to. But anyway, yeah, I want to thank everyone for watching. I think we're going to call the broadcast here. I'm going to finish up this guy real fast. And I can just do that off camera and just shoot a photo of him so that we can see what we worked on tonight. And any other closing comments here, Corey, before we close the show?
I don't think so. To be honest, I think we hit a lot of good subjects.
Good.
Hopefully, answer all the questions.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. Hold on. We will catch you on the next one.
All right.